I was asked in a video previously about this new bit of diagnostic kit I've got. I swore to myself I'd never buy another one. I honestly did, because I just wanted something that would work on domestic vehicles, that is domestic to North America. You see, I already have a Land Rover diagnostic equipment, and I've tried many, and you know, some good, some not so good. So I thought today, as a test, we'll check out our new piece of diagnostic kit in this Discovery 2. Now, I've never tested it, this God's honest truth. I've never even tried it, so that you're going to see it at the same time as me. But what I wanted to show you is, we've got the fault mate, which is faulty, strangely enough. But this little box here, this is the Lynx one. This is, well, I'll get it right way around. This is the one I use all the time on Land Rovers. It's good, but it's limited. All right, it doesn't do key programming for Disco 2s, whereas the Faultmate, it would. But ask yourself, how many times have I had to do that? Once, and that was when it was working. So what did I have before for North American codes? I had this thing. I had it about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. It's just a handheld Innova fault OBD 2 reader, and it says here, and the reason why I got it, because it said ABS. I thought, brilliant, that's got me out of a fix. But when you actually plug it in, it only does Ford, Chrysler and GM. It doesn't do anything else like Toyota, which we really need. So I was looking at something that would fit my bill. And the thing is, I'll get this started up. I bought this thing. It's the MaxiCOM by Autel MK808. Now, I have no affiliation with anybody with companies like this, but doing a bit of research, this was the best bang for my buck. It doesn't go massively into diagnostics and reprogramming of all sorts of cars, maybe like a Snap-on one does, but 518 Canadian dollars, it's affordable. I've tried it on several cars now, and it's worked perfectly. You know, you can plug it in, ask it to look for the VIN number of the car, and once it knows the VIN number of the car, well, it'll find out all sorts of faults. Wi-Fi too. So if it's actually a tablet. It's actually a tablet. So it'll go onto Wi-Fi and download, upgrade, and do all sorts of bits and pieces. Whereas the others can't. You know, you have to do it all the time. Now, if you want to upgrade this every year, I think it's, I don't know, $50 a year to upgrade the software. Well, that gives you an option. Whereas with something like this, you're stuck. So I'm going to plug this in. Like I said, $518, including tax, and it comes in a nice great big box, as you can probably see there. It comes in a nice big box to protect it. Chinese, what can we say? I mean, it's affordable. It's got different ports on the sides here. That's for your OBD2. You've got a memory card, you've got a charge port here, and you've got a USB port as well. And that's kind of nice. Now again, it does do just about every vehicle. But again, you have to consider that although I'm a sort of a mechanic, I do take other jobs on, and it's mainly sort of brakes and engine work and things like this that's not really sort of complicated. But if jobs really need to go into depth, send it to the dealers. That's the only thing you can do now, because they've got the major computers to fix these things and diagnose them. But if we can get 60% there, or even 70% there, then something like this is a good bang for your buck. You know, I mean, like I was doing the Yaris the other day, the ABS light was on. Well, how do you diagnose it? How do you diagnose an ABS fault with an OBD2 reader? You can't. You need something a little bit more advanced. And this, through looking at the comments, reading a lot about this, this was the best bang for my buck, because I could have spent another, well, I don't know what it was now, $150 and got exactly the same one, but with a Wi-Fi dongle so it could, or Bluetooth connection to the car. What do I need that for? Pfft, pointless really. So I saved that bit of money and I got this one. So less of my rambling, let's get on and see how this is going to work. But first of all, I want to show you how I set up the camera, because a lot of people were interested to know how my idea for setting up a camera for inside the cars, and it's quite cunning. So I hope you can see this. What we're going to do is we're going to film, my handheld camera is going to be on the outside, but on the inside I've got one of these props. It's called a cargo prop. This thing here. And it's on a ratchet. So you can put it horizontal or vertical, and it allows me, using one of these little camera mounts, to mount my camera just behind me so you can see, because obviously if you stick a camera on the side windows you see nothing, and if you stick it on the back it's too far. Whereas we're going to experiment with this with my little what's it called again? I can't remember now. It's the stupidest name. Get up. It's a get up. But that little camera is quite remarkable colour. I really like it for the colour. So less of me rambling on yet again, and let's fire up this and see what happens. So as with most diagnostics readers, you've got to have the ignition on for it to read. So we're going to swipe it, we're going to go into Diagnostics, and we're going to find Land Rover. We're going to do automatic select, which will try and find the VIN number. Now again, never done this before, so let's see if it can read the VIN. It sometimes takes time to do it. It can take forever. See, VIN reading failed. So there, failure at the first fault. Okay, so we're going to have a look at, we'll escape from that, we'll do it manual selection. It's a Discovery, 1998 to 2004, yes. So we'll do Diagnostics again. See, now we have to manually select what we want to do. So let's have a look at the engine, because this car has got a strange problem with the check engine light coming on and going off, and I think it's when it goes over water. There's a bad connection, but I'm not really bothered about it. It's out now, although it says service engine soon. Petrol M52, must be that one because there's not much of a choice. It's not diesel. Right, read codes. Oxygen center heater, downstream cat bank 2. Alright, so we'll have a look and see what that means. Or does it? No, it doesn't. Alright, so there's a fault. Or is it finding another one? It's still flashing here. Click search. Oh, look at that. That's clever, isn't it? That's brilliant. I didn't even know it would do that. So if you click on the search, it goes onto Google and finds out what the fault is. That's brilliant. Look at that. Hey, I'm really impressed at that. Because before, you see, what used to happen is I used to write down the codes and run upstairs to my computer and type it in. Well, that's time off the job. Now I can stay here. So that's brilliant. Fair cap with that. So, can we clear the code? Erase codes. Ignition on and engine off, yes. Diagnostic trouble codes and freeze data will be deleted. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. Codes have been deleted. Good. Let's go back on to read codes. No codes. Okay, so that's good. So I think it's, even though the check engine light didn't come on, it's still got a code in the memory. So let's have a look at something else. Oh, live data. Wonder what that'll tell us. Well, let's turn the bloody engine on. Right. Well, look at that. You know, this is doing exactly the same as the other, the Lynx system. Oh, the exhaust got a hole in it, but we won't bother about that too much. So we can see what our settings are here. If it's, you know, 1200 RPM because it's on choke, 1240. Has it got voltage? Oh, you see there you see that's the choke coming off, and it's gone down to 1000, 960. And we've got voltage, ignition advance, mass airflow sensor, tells us how many kilograms per hour of air's been sucked through, so we can tell. Do you know something? This is telling us everything that the Lynx does. Brilliant. Battery voltage, you see, 14.2. You don't need to get a multimeter out, do you? We've also got features for recording, like the Lynx did, so we can record data, we can freeze it, we can clear data, we can also check the settings. Buzzer alarm. Ooh, that's easy. We'll cancel that because we're going to get into something there. Yeah. Well, that's good. It's good for engines then. So, what else will it do? AT. What's AT? Let's find out. What's an engine on? AT. Never even heard of AT. The problem, the reason probably why it reads the engine diagnostics is because it's a Bosch system, and the Bosch system was used on all sorts of cars, so it's pretty common. It's not Land Rover only. Now it looks like it's oh wait a minute, unable to communicate with the control unit. Well, that's okay because I didn't even know if we had one in the first place. ABS. Again, it's it can read it. So let's read some codes. No faults. Live data. Let's have a look on the live data. See what it says. And look again. It will do exactly the same on this vehicle as the Lynx would do. Look. It'll tell us the speeds of the wheels, left and front, left and rear, because all the four wheels on the Discovery make the speedo work. They average it out and calculate it. So as we're driving along, looking at this and not the road, we can tell what speed we're doing, and if there's a fault with the sensor. Hill descent switch not engaged. Well, let's try it. You know, I've never used hill descent switch. Will it work? Engage, you see? Brilliant. Low range. I'm not going to do that. It'll probably seized up. Battery voltage, engine torque. Look, I think it's actually got more live data than it would have had before. Now, obviously, these systems are slabs. It's the slabs, so it's self-leveling ABS. So I don't know if it'll do that section. I'm not sure. ECU information. There you go. It's a Wabco product, so it's German, so they know everything about it. There's the VIN number. You know, strange why it couldn't find the VIN number of the car, but anyway. Can we change the VIN numbers and things like that? No. ABS airbag. The weight. It's like a Microsoft Minute, isn't it? Exciting, isn't it? I mean, they should have brought a newspaper or something. I'm not sure if you can read it. I'm not sure at all. I noticed that the ABS and traction control lights have come on. Yeah, can't communicate with it. Airbag. Security. Now this would be interesting if you can actually program anything with it. Not sure. ECU information. Yeah, there's not much here. Data manufacturer, even the Lynx wouldn't push that up. Live data. Yeah, so it will tell us what's going on. Driver's door switch open. Well, that's because the driver's door's open. But can we change anything? We don't know. I'm just going through everything that we will look at. Cruise control. Petrol cruise control. I know the cruise control on this doesn't work because the pipe's broken. Yeah, so it doesn't work. Active corner enhancement, I haven't got that. BCU and transmission, that's body control unit. Yeah, you see now it's flicked out of one system to another. Yeah, can't communicate. Gauges. I must admit, it is communicating, which is one of the biggest problems I had with the faultmate. I couldn't get it to read. I couldn't even get to this stage, so I'm not really bothered about that. Heated screen. Heated screen works, I know that for sure. But I didn't know there was a diagnostic unit for it. Live data. It'll only tell us if it's on or off. Ignition on, engine speed inactive, heated front screen switch off. Rear heated switch off. Let's put them on. Oh, they're on interlock buttons. It needs all the system working. That's working fine. You know, we can test that circuit. That's nice. Let's have a look. I didn't really lighting. Live data. Well, that's interesting, because when we want to do bits and pieces on daytime running light active, it's on idle. That will only come on when we put it into drive. Side light switch off. Let's try a switch. There, see, side lights and headlamps are on, so it knows the switch is working right. Tail fog switch. Where's that? Let's try that. On, that's working. On, that's working. Hazard switch. On. Yep. So far, there's one or two things that didn't work. Power distribution, what does this mean? And again, this is the first time, yeah, see, I don't even think there's an ECU for that. So let's get out of this, profile, discovery, and that's all it tells us. So let's go out of diagnostics, and let's go into service. If it will do I don't know if it'll do a service. Hold on. Just wait a minute, let's have a break. When I said it wouldn't do any services on this machine, on this Disco 2, I hadn't gone back to the menu. I was still in diagnostics. I wasn't on services. A couple of things I want to show you for this screen as well. It's showing there's 34 updates to come in. Alright, so it comes in all the time, updates for everything. I'll show you that in a minute. Service. Now, if we wanted to do brake bleed, for example, we'll choose Land Rover, and you can see these little green arrows here means it's got some service things available. Manual selection, discovery. Now this is interesting, it doesn't cover our year, it starts at 2005, if you see what I mean. So that's no good. Again, it goes right up to the new Range Rover Sport. Defender, which one does it do? 2011 onwards, 2012, 2015. So let's escape this and look. Let's have a look at something else it might be able to do. Back to the menu, service menu. Where else could it be? Immobilising keys. Land Rover. Manual select, because I know it won't find it. Discovery. Again, it starts at 2005, so we haven't got a car like that. But it's kind of interesting really to find out what cars it actually covers. Obviously it starts at 2005, so you've got the Range Rover, Range Rover Evoque, in Range Rover Evoque Convertible, Discovery Sport, Range Rover Evoque China. Wow, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Get a Chinese one. So, it does do it, but our vehicles we're using it on is too old, so that's not a problem with the machine. But let's just have a quick look at the, whilst I'm here, about the update feature. We'll go back to menu, update, update all, and what it'll do is it'll go onto Wi-Fi and it'll start to download the updates of all these cars. Like Bugatti, optimize some functions, execution processes, optimize some functions on the Bentley, the stuff here, BMW VIN code analysis supports up to January 2019. Yeah, so what it's doing is it's going on and looking around the internet for and updating the machine automatically, and that in itself is a boon because, well, sometimes if you have an out-of-date machine it's not worth it. So if it's only $50 a year to keep your machine updated, it's quite a good buy. Well, it's not a good buy to $50. Anyway, stop this rambling, back to the video. Diagnostics. Yeah, it's not going into, like when we plug this into the how do we say, when we plugged it into a Subaru the other day, it would come up with like the tyre sensor monitors and things like that because it was applicable to the vehicle. So it's not doing some of the things that we would like it to do if you had a sort of a major fault. I think it's not too bad for finding out faults on, you know, like the engine, for example, TD5, but will it initialize injectors if you've changed your injectors? I don't think so. I'm not really sure about that. That's why you need something special. But for day-to-day stuff, it's not too bad. You know, like live data, that's what you want to see for your engine when you're trying to find a problem. You can see all the values. And a lot of the times the mechanics, that's what they're looking for. They know what the set value should be, and if one of these values is up or down, then we can diagnose a problem. Say, for example, the mass airflow sensor is faulty. Well, if we know what it should be, what the set point is, and if it's not doing that, then we can eye our ideas down to that. So, is it good? I think so. For $500, which is about £230, I think it's worth it. The Lynx system, which is a multi-vehicle system, cost me £750, which was about, I don't know how many years ago I've had that, about 4 or 5 years. But, that, you know, I think the Lynx is a little bit more sophisticated. In fact, let's pause it here and let's get the Lynx out. So here's the Lynx system, and as you can see, it's kind of complicated because you need a laptop at the same time. This is just an interface. So let's start this off. There we go. I use a Toughbook because in this shop I've got through about 2 or 3 tablets and laptops and things like this. So it connects to the vehicle interface. So what it's doing is it's going to try and read here. Hopefully the ignition's on. Oh God, here we go. See, this is it. Why won't it connect? Oh, maybe it's jealousy. Make sure the connections are right. See, it's not. There's no. That's flashing a bit, so that might be working. It might be a bad connection in there. Ah, listen, it's going doo-doo-doo-doo. I think there's a bad USB connection in it. Time. Oh, you see, listen. There. So now it's connecting. What is it reading? It's crashed out, hasn't it? I couldn't have planned this better, could I, really? You won't even control. I'll go in and control alt and delete. Task manager. Britpart Diagnostics. End task. Let's start that again. See, Omitech made this device. Who made the T4 machine for Land Rover? So the software should be good. Ah, there we go, we're in. Right, Discovery 2. EMS engine management system. Turn ignition on. Yes, we know that. Yes, we know that. Right, so fault codes. Read fault codes. There shouldn't be any, but that's good. Special functions, ECM data, maintenance. See, this is the thing. See, reset adaptions. Now, that's the one thing that MaxiCOM didn't have. And repair validation. So reset adaptations means that it puts it all back to standard again, I think. So I'm not going to touch that. Security code 7832. What's that security? I don't know what that means. Actuator tests. Fuel pump. Again, these are the things it wouldn't do. Test. Fuel forced on. Off. Exit. Condenser fan. These are things sometimes you need to find. Condenser fan not available. That's for the air conditioning. Off. Exit. CVS valve. What the hell is that? We'll test it anyway. Not available. E-box fan. Not available. Right, so we found out we haven't got anything available. Live data. Now, this is the similar sort of thing. So we have a selection here of items that we can test. It's exactly the same as this system. Engine rough wasn't in that thing, I don't think. But what we have to do, say for example we want to find all 8 cylinders, we go like this and we add that to there, we add that to there, we add that to there. Oh, we'll put one, oh, I forgot 2, wait a minute, 2. Then we'll fire this engine up and see what the outputs are. You see, there's no such thing as a perfect ready reader, is there? But you see, this link system won't plug into any other car. It'll only plug into Land Rover, so you need 2. Right, let's fire this beast up. Right, so we'll play them. And we can see instantly which cylinders which are firing properly. See, the engine's cold, but we're not getting we're getting mixed values. And what that is, there's knock sensors on the side of the engine, and it's listening to each end. You can hear the revs have gone down now because it's warming up, but it's listening to each cylinder to see if it's firing right against its own values. All right. So we can see round here. Rough number 4. See, these are 0, 0, 0, 0, but 4 and 6 are showing constantly changing values. Could be a bad spark plug, it could be a bad lead. Probably bad leads because I've never changed them. But let's not get into that too much, but this system here couldn't do that. Alright, that couldn't read that. What else can this do? How do you get out of this? I never can remember. Home. Connection connected, established, home, start. So you have to start again. Turn that noise even off. Save a bit of petrol. So we'll go back to Discovery 2 again. Well, let's check something else. Transmission, ABS. Now security. Body control computer. Turn ignition on. So we'll do live data. Again, it'll do the same things. It'll test the live data things that the other computer would do. There's a few more bits and pieces in there. I haven't really gone into too much with the MaxiCOM, but it will tell us, for example, hazard switch. Let's put the hazard switch on there. We'll run it. See, it's off. Let's put it on. On. See, on and off. It just does exactly the same thing. Let's go to special functions, programming. Now this is one thing that MaxiCOM doesn't do, and the Lynx does, but the fault make goes a bit deeper still. This is a very primitive thing. So we can turn things, front fogs on main beam, no effect. We can shift interlock, we can disable it, you know, so that there's no interlock between the shift. Daytime running lights, we can change that. Wash wipe, we can change when it wipes and when it washes. Key in warning, which I disabled because I hate that noise. Electric seats, you can play around with the functions for that. Electric windows, timeout cancel when the door was closed. So what that means is that when you shut the door and your key's in your hand for a few seconds, there's power still going to the window, so you don't have to put the key back in. There's all sorts of, there's 33 different functions that we can test on that, so we're not going to go through them all. But again, this one wouldn't do that. So that's why you need two. You really need two. Now, let's go outside and have a chat. So I think we've gone through this. The link system is good. I've got a bad connection. That's not a Britpart fault. It's just one of the faults. Faults with the machine because it's getting old now. So let's have a chat outside and see what I think. So we've seen the Lynx system and we've seen this MaxiCOM system. Now, which am I going to use? Well, naturally I'm going to use the Lynx system on the Defenders, but you can see what a pain it is because you have to lug your laptop out and then you've got to plug it in and fiddle around with the loose connection. Well, that's because it's old. But the thing is, this little thing won't do a lot of it won't do things that the Lynx will do, but for a quick check it's all self-contained. You just plug it in and away you go. I like that. You see, the thing is, I do a lot of odd cars now and again. People buy these Johnny Foreigner cars and they can't get it, you know, they can't get it diagnosed by anybody else because they probably haven't got a reader. But with this, I don't know if you can, oh, it's gone to sleep again. We've got things like can you see that? Subaru, Toyota, Daewoo, Ford, GM, Lamborghini, Dacia, Volkswagen. There's cars on here that I haven't even... SsangYong, Tata, Lexus, Isuzu. People like that in Australia because we can do Isuzus now. Not that we see any. We haven't got any Isuzus here. Yeah, so I like it because it wasn't like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 or even $10,000 for a system that I would never use. And I think you've got to get that into your mind. How much you're going to use it. Like, for example, if I had 4 or 5 cars in a month, it's paid for itself because it saves time. You see what I mean? Whereas if I got a T4 machine for Land Rovers with all the fancy equipment in, which would cost thousands and thousands of dollars, I don't get that many Land Rovers with electronics in because there's hardly any in our area. So you've got to judge what you really want to pay for. As we saw, that would do quite a few functions on Land Rovers, especially for engines, and it even did the TD5, which we haven't got a TD5 here to test. I would love to test it. So Jeremy, if you're watching, bring it down, we'll have a look at it one day. We'll have a few beers and we'll test your machine out. So yeah, I don't think it's a waste of money. It's certainly better than the handheld reader, because that wouldn't do anything. But as you can see, I don't have to like lug a great big laptop around. I've got it all self-contained. And I was just thinking there to myself, I wonder if I can get this tablet to link in to the Lynx system with a bit of software and make that multifunctional. That would be good, wouldn't it? Because it's got a USB port in the back of it. I'm going to work on that later, but I hope you found this video interesting. I hope it works anyway. But yeah, so Diagnostics, you know, like the days when we used to get a little test lead out and test, you know, like a little bulb in the side of the screwdriver, well, them days have gone. We need to find out exactly why a light is on the dash. And when you get into that problem, you'll find out there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. All right, so let's put all these things right, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.